Welcome back to Ration Nerd Party, people. You know, I am like a giant child with a ration, burning a hole in my pocket. I know I said I was going to wait a little while to do these, but you know what? I just can't help myself. I really want to get into this South African regular army ration. To be honest, I really wanted to get into the Special Forces ration, but we're going to get into the regular army ration. I figured I'd kind of split the difference between my childish desire to get in here and do one of these South African rations right away. I will save the Special Forces ration for maybe a video or two in the future, as well, maybe as long as I can keep myself under control. I did name the channel Ration Nerd for a reason, because I am really nerdy about this shit. Without any further ado, we are going to get into this 24-hour South African regular army ration pack number 1. This was packed in 2021 and was Best Buy 2024. It's still 2024. It might be a little bit after the 5th month. No fucks given. We're going to get into this. We're going to have a good time, break it down into 3 meals, and we're going to eat those 3 meals together. Just you and me and all the other Ration Nerd Nation. We are going to crack into this and have a good goddamn time. But if you guys like what I am doing here on this channel, you got to do me a favor, yo. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, talk to me in the chat. I don't know what all that is. I guess that's the enter button. I'm not really sure. Talk to me in the chat. It's great to hear from you guys. All you guys that come to the premiere, I really appreciate you guys. We have a lot of fun conversations in the premiere. If you're not there, you ought to think about trying. It's 12:30 Eastern Standard on a Sunday. What else are you doing at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time on a Sunday? Well, you should be watching Ration Nerd. That's what. Now let's get into this damn ration, and I'll stop babbling. Hey everybody, this is Future Ration Nerd talking to you about Past Ration Nerd, which you are about to watch review this 24-hour South African regular army ration. One thing I like to do is always be honest with you guys and be upfront to make sure I don't skew my opinion of the ration. I have to tell you, it was a pretty shit week for me at work, and I was being kind of a bitch about this ration, mainly because it started off right in the beginning with no coffee, which totally pissed me off. I was having a rough week, so my opinion of this ration was definitely shaded by my personal life. Not that anything was wrong, it was just really busy and really rough. So I want to preface this video with that fact. This ration is pretty basic. There's really nothing wrong with it, except for the fact, well, it wasn't very comprehensive, and I live in the first world. I'm like, hey man, I want some comprehensive, like take care of me with all kinds of nifty add-on stuff. Didn't happen in this ration. I was kind of butthurt about it, so please just know that. Past Ration Nerd was in a bad mood. Future Ration Nerd realizes that that definitely shaded my opinion. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and now I'll let Past Ration Nerd take it away when he's being all whiny and bitchy about this ration not having 5 million things put in it. So anyway, hopefully Past Ration Nerd is at least mildly entertaining throughout the rest of this bitch fest about this South African ration. Yeah, eat them up, guys. I have really been looking forward to getting into this thing. This ought to be a lot of fun. I have never had a South African ration, so let's just get that off the table. I have absolutely no clue what I'm getting into, so therefore, we're going to get into this damn thing and have some fun with it. Oh, cutting this bag almost just like breaks my heart a little bit. That's a pretty tough bag. That's good stuff. All right, let's make some room. What do we got going on in here? All right. We've got a peanut butter Odie. That sounds excellent. I love it. I just love the fact that things are just different. You know what I mean? A peanut butter Odie. O-A-T-I-E Odie. That is good stuff. So we got some peanut butter Odies to start things off. Looks like we have 3 large and in charge flameless ration heaters. That's excellent. These look a lot like ration heaters I have used before, so these ought to make 3 really hot main dishes. That's pretty awesome. Flameless ration heaters in the house. Feels like we got a main. What do we have here? Beef ragu pasta, 400 grams. That's excellent. Ration Tech. I've never had that brand before. Hopefully Ration Tech knows what they're doing with pasta. That's awesome. Beef ragu pasta. And we have some kind of bag for something. I'm not really sure what that's for. It's sealed on one end. And I have no clue what that is for. So anybody that's aware what this little bag is for, please do me a favor, drop that in the comments. I personally have no clue, unless you're just supposed to put like one really long dookie in there. Not really sure what that's for, but we have a little plastic bag. And we have a spoon with a napkin and some salt and pepper. Oh, there's a knife in there as well. This doesn't feel all that great, but you know what? It's silverware. Tropical muesli with milk, 80 grams. That's actually pretty hefty. It's stuffed in this really small pouch, but it feels like there's a good bit in there. 80 grams, not too shabby. We got some raisins. We have a 60-gram sack of raisins by Ration Tech. Awesome sauce. I like raisins. We have another one of the main dishes. Oh yeah, sweet and sour chicken with rice, 400 grams. That's excellent. I am digging that. That's pretty awesome. We have an isotonic beverage here, 50 grams. Can't tell what flavor this is. The packaging on this is pretty janky, to be fair. Not really sure what flavor that is, but we will definitely get in here and try it out here shortly. Nice big old isotonic drink. And we have 2 more of these little bags. So I guess that's 3 long dookies for the day. I'm not really sure what to make of these bags. Again, it'd be real helpful if somebody could help me out with that. Orange flavored Super C candy. That's pretty cool. Give me some Super C. We got a bunch of stuff. We have an empty Super C candy. Maybe that's rolling around in the bottom of the bag somewhere. That's all right. What's this? We have 40 grams of peanut butter. That feels really oily and natural. That ought to be awesome. Little peanut butter action. And we have chutney. I'm down with it. I don't really know what chutney is, if I'm being fair, but chutney's halal, whatever that means to you. So we have a pack o' chutney. That's pretty cool. Mixed fruit jam. I'm down with some mixed fruit jam. That's awesome. And we have 15 grams of mixed fruit jam. Everybody likes jam. Well, if you don't, there's something wrong with you. We have some more of these Super C candies. Looks like we found the culprit that's been rolling around in the bag, and that's got some dirty looking spots on it, so I'm not gonna just pop that in the old face hole. I think that's just we're gonna chuck that. It's a bummer that it came out of the package. Looks like we would have had 4 of those, but now not so much. And we have another one of these little baby bags. Okay, these are starting to kind of weird me out a little bit. Not really sure what that's about. We have a chocolate energy bar that's definitely seen better days. Looks like maybe it's a little heat stress, but that's okay. It happens. Chocolate energy bar. We have another isotonic beverage. That is cool. Isotonic beverages are always nice. Then we have more of these Super C candies. If we didn't lose one, we would have had 8 total. So you get 8 of these vitamin C candies and 1 pack of salt. And that is it for a 24-hour ration for a South African regular army soldier. That's pretty crazy. You basically get muesli, or the way I'm taking it is you get muesli and maybe some peanut butter Oaties for breakfast. You have lunch and dinner tied up in your mains. You can chuck some raisins in there somewhere. You have your isotonic beverages to have throughout the day. There's no goddamn coffee. What the fuck are they thinking? Like, just isotonic drinks? No coffee? Does Mr. South African people know what time it is in the morning where I am right now? This is total shenanigans. Absolute ration shenanigans. There's no tea. There's no coffee. I'm at a loss. I'm at a complete loss. There's no tea and there's no coffee. There's no accessory kit. We've got all these empty bags for nothing. Where's, maybe am I missing something? Like, there's really no coffee in this ration? I can't believe there's no coffee in this ration. Is it in here? It's too early in the morning for this bullshit. So we have like salt and pepper, and we have really super flimsy fork, knife, and spoon, and a really crappy napkin. Like, how the fuck do you give somebody a ration for 24 hours and don't give them a cup of coffee? Alright, if there's anybody out there that has a contact in the South African government, again, I need an email address, a phone number, an address, so I can get in contact with these people and tell them exactly what they're doing wrong. Because at first I'm like, you have 800 grams worth of mains. That's pretty filling. And you do have some other stuff. Like, what the hell you're doing with peanut butter and jam without some biscuits? You got your peanut butter Oaties, but whatever. I mean, but the coffee, the no coffee? I'm going to have to get a cup of coffee before I start this, because there's no way I'm going to be functional to do this review with you guys without putting a goddamn cup of coffee in my body. So we'll be right back with some breakfast out onto a tray right after I go get at least a small cup of coffee out of the kitchen and put that down so I can actually speak intelligibly for the rest of this video because it's too early in the morning for this no coffee bullshit. Sit tight, I'll be right back. Well, everyone, welcome to breakfast. Certainly not really excited about the limited amount of items that are in this 24-hour South African regular army ration. Feel kind of bad for these guys. So let's get into it. We're going to have some peanut butter, some mixed fruit jam, tropical muesli with milk, some raisins. We're going to have an isotonic beverage, and we're going to try to put some of this stuff on peanut butter Oaties. Don't know how well that's going to work out. Although peanut butter and peanut butter, well, more peanut butter is better peanut butter. So I did go and have a cup of coffee because this was not going to happen with me having any kind of intelligible speech without a goddamn cup of coffee, which is something I'm absolutely 100% butthurt about this ration. It did not come with coffee. I don't understand it. I can't quite comprehend it. So let's get this tropical muesli getting all moist in my tray. I love that word, moist. Oh, there's definitely milk powder in there. Let's check that out. You know, for such a small ration, realistically, that's not a huge portion of muesli. These guys on like a starvation diet or something? What the hell? Let's give that a wee bit of a stir to get everybody excited. Hopefully sucking up a little bit too much of that water that I put in there. We'll just have to see what happens with that. If you haven't figured it out by now, I'm not exactly a rocket scientist. Sometimes I bone this stuff up pretty good. Looks like I certainly did that with this particular ration item. Shit happens, guys. Let's check out these raisins. You do get 60 grams of raisins, so that's a good bit. And those just pretty much look like your standard dark raisins. Let's get these peanut butter Oaties out over here and see what they're all about. That's definitely interesting. That's like a big oat cookie. That's kind of cool. And it looks, there's nothing else left in this package. That's it. It looks like you got a half a cookie and then a cookie that already has a bite taken out of it. I'm not really sure how that's supposed to work, but so you have some peanut butter Oaties that looks like somebody else had their way with before they stuck them in the package. And we're gonna make up that isotonic beverage. And this does say to add 500 mils of water, so we'll try to get reasonably guesstimation close to that. Still have not determined the flavor, but that is certainly pink. And maybe we'll use the knife to get down on there and swizz this around a bit. And that is somewhere between orange and pink. That looks like the exact same color of like the flesh of a guava fruit. So let's give this a taste just to see what we're working with in the drink department. And that is absolutely what that is. That is guava flavored. For an isotonic beverage, honestly, that rocks. That's really good. A little bit on the sweet side, nice guava flavor. That's an excellent isotonic beverage. It does not in any way, shape, or form make up for the lack of coffee in this ration. I would like to bring that to your attention, that there was no coffee included in this ration. Did I happen to mention that this 24-hour South African ration had 0 coffee options? 0. Anyhow, so let's check out, while we're waiting for this muesli to rehydrate, let's check out this peanut butter. Can't say I didn't need this package because I certainly did. It is very likely a nice natural peanut butter. I guess for all intents and purposes, even though we're really suffering in the biscuit department to have anything to do with this peanut butter and jam, I'll get a little bite of one of these Oaties just to see what we're working with. That is an excellent biscuit. Definitely taste the oats. Very mild peanut butter flavor. So I have absolutely no issue packing some peanut butter on this thing because, well, to be honest, there's not a whole lot else we can do with it. Whoa, that peanut butter is really runny. We try to get a bite of that before it just drips all over the tray. It's like a peanut butter landslide over here. Take a look at that as it drips all over me. This now would be a good time to check out this napkin because I kind of need it now that I've got peanut butter dripped all over me. This thing is really thin, really soft. I mean, if you had about 20 of these, you could wipe your butt with these and it'd be a nice soft wipe. But as far as napkins go, well, that's pretty substandard. That's really small, really thin. I guess it does the trick though. More like a single use affair. That peanut butter on that peanut butter Oatie, absolutely amazing. We really have not much else to do with the jam, so we're just going to have to try to make a little peanut butter and jam Oatie. So much for that tear notch. Get a little taste of that red goodness. And that tastes pretty great. Yeah, that's a real shame. If there were some biscuits in this ration, it would make a whole lot more sense to have peanut butter and jam in here. These Oaties don't make a great deal of sense with this peanut butter and jam, but we're going to give it a hell of a shot. Those two make a great combination. you just don't have enough stuff to put it on. This will check out some of these raisins. They're looking a little rough. They're a little wrinkly. I mean, I know raisins are normally wrinkly. These just seem a little bit more wrinkly than normal. I don't know if you can pick that up. They're like extra wrinkle raisins. Let's slap these in the old face hole and see what these raisins are bringing to the table. They're okay. Oddly enough, they are a super sweet raisin, but not much in the actual raisin flavor department. They really just taste like chewy sugar, which is kind of weird. A little bit of a raisin aftertaste, but mostly just chewy and crazy sweet, which is really strange. We are definitely going to have to load this other Odie up with some peanut butter. I'm just feeling bad. Like, for South African troops, this is just a strange ration. The lack of drink options, like the no coffee, I'm going to harp on that the entire time. So if you're tired of hearing me talk about how there's no coffee in this ration, sorry. And not having some standard biscuits for this peanut butter and really excellent jam, real shame. There's just not enough of them. It just seems like this ration is missing a whole lot of components. South Africa could really do a much better job on this ration. It seems like they have the basis for an epic 24-hour ration and just kind of, I don't know, left a bunch of items out. With just a few more items added, this seems like it could be pretty epic. As it sits right now, this is a super basic, probably budget ration for South Africa. Maybe this isn't for active troops. Maybe this is just a day's worth of food because we're not feeding you at a mess hall or something. Goodbye, Mr. Odie Biscuit. I do want to check out this jam on its own. Does it really taste like there's some black currant in here? And I am a big fan of black currant. So I guess at some point, you're just reduced to eating the peanut butter and jam just right off your spoon. I guess there's worse things that could happen. And this jam has plum and currant and apple. There's only 15 grams of this jam in there. It is an amazing jam. It's a shame you don't get more of it, but if you did get any more, I don't know exactly what you do with it other than maybe add it to the muesli. That's probably going to be another failure point that I'm going to bring up here in a minute, that I really should have added the jam to the muesli, but I'm about to stuff this in my face hole. An extra pack of biscuits would have been the absolute way to go. I know we have two 400-gram mains we're going to be getting into, and, well, 800 grams of food is quite a bit. And that's awesome. However, having these items like peanut butter and jam and not much to do with them except for a couple of Odies that kind of matched the flavor profile, but not really, it's just really a bummer. That peanut butter, though, is really amazing. There's just 3 ingredients: peanuts, brown sugar, and salt. Really good, mildly sweet peanut butter with an excellent taste. This stuff is great. I don't think it would hold up for a really long time past its expiration date, and it's definitely time to tuck into this muesli and get a big old bite and see what we're working with. So we have some sunflower seeds chilling in there, oats, looks like we have some barley flakes, maybe that's spelt, I'm not 100% sure. And this is a decent looking muesli. That is definitely a barley flake there, that's awesome. A little bit of raisins floating around in there. We have a couple of pieces of this dried fruit, looks like banana to me. We'll find out here in a second. Let's get a big old bite of that and see what this muesli is bringing to the table. Take a look at that wholesome bite of goodness, or at least we hope so. And that is severely underwhelming. This ration is just slightly out of date, but that milk powder absolutely tastes old. Everything is kind of a little bit too mushy, and it really hasn't been soaking that long. It is really a bummer, but we do have a whole lot of really sweet raisins that we're just gonna, well, we're gonna dump them all in there because this muesli just isn't all that in a bag of chips. So we're just gonna toss a whole bunch of raisins in there, sweeten the whole thing up, hide a whole lot of stale flavor. And these raisins will definitely make it happen. Maybe that's what they really planned on you doing, was putting the majority of these raisins in the muesli, but it certainly needs it. Let's try it with the raisins. Yep, and that needs every bit of help it can get. So we're just gonna put all the raisins in the muesli. I was really excited to get a Ration Tech ration. I've never had a Ration Tech ration before. Not really excited at this point. I'm hoping the other mains that are in this ration win me over, but this breakfast, peanut butter and jam was amazing. The lack of coffee pisses me off, and this muesli just tastes old. And these raisins, they're just sweet. There's nothing spectacular about them. That's a goddamn shame. Well, at least I won't be saying to myself, I wish I would have added those insert ration item here into the muesli, because, well, I did it. And it's not all that in a bag of chips. Honestly, this spoon kind of sucks. I mean, realistically, the best way I can describe this flavor is sweet stale. That's it. It's sweet because of the raisins. Without the raisins, it wouldn't even be sweet. But it's definitely like something that's really sweet and stale. Well, and that breakfast was mildly depressing. So let's get another drink of this guava isotonic beverage, which is really good, by the way. And then we're going to try one of these Super C candies. Maybe that'll save it. Maybe that's what the doctor ordered. Who knows? That stuff is really amazing. I mean, that's the best thing in the ration so far. So let's check out one of these already partially, oh Jesus, already partially opened. I don't know if that's coming through on the camera. Already partially opened Super C candies. No wonder one of them was rolling around in the ration bag. Do better, South Africa. Good God Almighty. So maybe that candy, and look, this one's got weird brown dots in it too. Maybe that's just the way they are. I thought maybe it had picked up dirt or something from the inside of the ration bag, but apparently those little brown speckles are normal, or they're not, and I'm about to put a funky vitamin C tablet in my face hole. We'll check it out. While I'm sucking on this and trying to figure out what flavor this is supposed to be, I'm going to open this one up because this one was sealed. So is this one speckled? And it is. So even one that was in a sealed package also has speckles all over it. Either they've all gone bad in their molding, or that's just the way the candy comes. It does really look like it's kind of molded, which kind of freaks me out just a wee bit. But, you know, I've eaten stranger things and older things. So, yeah. That's very hard, which is not a problem. So it's definitely not something you chew on. It's something you suck on. This thing is just really sweet and doesn't taste like orange at all. It doesn't even taste like it has a citric acid content, which is crazy. It's just sweet, and it doesn't even taste like orange. That's really odd. I mean, hell, for all I know, this is supposed to be a drink tablet, and I'm eating it. I've done that before, and it says it's orange flavored. They lied. So we're going to save him for later, because I don't need any more hard candy to eat right now. Well, guys, breakfast is pretty depressing. Aside from the drink, and, well, I mean, the Oaties were good, but, you know, we don't have a lot of items to get out on the tray for the rest of the day. So with this 24-hour ration, I might not actually feel like a complete fat ass by the end of the day. I might feel kind of normal, which would be good for a change, but I still feel kind of bad for South African soldiers. If this is everything they get issued for a day, we'll be back in 3 or 4 hours to throw some lunch out on the tray and get it rocking South African style. Well, and welcome back to lunch, everybody. Lunch is going to be pretty sparse because it's just you and me and a main and the drink that I have left over from breakfast. Since you only get 2 drinks with the ration, I figured I wouldn't drink it all at breakfast time, so I saved it for lunch. We've got the beef ragu pasta. I've already started up in the flameless ration heater over here. It's getting decently warm. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to rescue this thing and get this beef ragu party started. So that ration heater did do a decent job of getting this heated up. I had it on there for about 10 to 12 minutes before I started filming. So let's see what Ration Tech knows about making some pasta. So this is 400 grams. Doesn't look too bad. I hope it's not, considering that you don't get a ton of food in this ration. What's in here better be good. Now I have to say, that looks really appetizing. I've got to hand it to him. That is a good looking main. So we've got some spiral noodles going on in here. Looks like we have some carrot pieces, some beef floating around. We have some peppers. There's an onion in there. And that looks like a green bean, which is kind of an odd add-on. There's some corn in there. There's a decent bit of beef in here. So essentially, noodles, peppers, onions. We've got a few green beans chilling out in here, some carrots, corn. Let's just give this thing a taste and see what beef ragu pasta looks like. Get a look at that stuff right there. And that's really not bad. I can't say that it's something I'm really excited about, but as far as a retort pouch main dish, it's really not that bad. The pasta is extremely soft. Let's get a bite of this beef. It is amazing how dry that beef is compared to the fact that it is a really wet packed retort. It's crazy. That is some really dry beef. Kind of a tough chew. Certainly not a great cut of beef in this ration main. That's okay though. We're gonna try to help this out with some salt, and then we're gonna try to help it out even more with some pepper. This ration definitely could have used a packet of spicy sauce, but there was none of that included. There's that chutney over there. You know what? We might as well just go ahead and use the chutney on this dish, because this just really isn't all that great. We're going to chuck that pepper in there, give that a little mix, and then we're going to throw the chutney in there. I have no clue what the flavor profile of chutney is going to be, so I don't know if it would go better with sweet and sour chicken, which is our dinner main, or if it would go better with this beef ragu pasta. We're about to find out though, you and I. So let's try another bite of this with a good bit of salt and pepper added to it. See if that helps the situation any. Don't get me wrong, I could certainly eat this. It's not horrible. It's not bad at all. Noodles are a bit mushy, beef's a bit tough, but it does have a nice tomato base taste to it. However, you would figure with the reduced amount of items and the reduced calorie count of this ration that the items themselves would be pretty stellar. That doesn't really seem to be the case. Everything's been kind of mediocre so far, especially that muesli. I will say the salt and pepper helped out immensely. We are definitely going to check out this chutney though, especially because, to be quite honest with you, right at the moment, I'm blanking on chutney. I have no clue what chutney is supposed to be, so we're going to get a little taste. Well, that looks like jelly. Was this supposed? This can't have been a breakfast item. Let me give that a little taste. That's odd. It has a sweet taste to it, but also it's definitely a taste that you're going to add to a savory dish. So we're going to go ahead and chuck this chutney in here too. It's like almost like a sweet and salty fruit jelly. It's kind of a weird thing. It's like it's almost like the basis of a really good hot sauce, but it's not hot at all, and there's really not a lot of it. All right, let's see if that chutney does anything magical for this dish. I don't think it's going to. Let's get a bite and check it out. Yeah, I kind of don't know what the point of the chutney was. It really just disappeared in here, and I don't think it would have done anything to change the taste of sweet and sour chicken. I'm going to try to stop dripping stuff all over me. It was like the third drop of pasta sauce I've got chilling on my shirt. There's one in my beard. I mean, that's par for the course for me, but, you know, I try not to make too many messes. The noodle texture is just what's throwing me off. Even the beef being a little tough isn't that crazy. It's just not high quality beef. This is a pretty decent main. It has a nice flavor. It doesn't particularly taste like Italian food. It's more like a tomato based beef stew with noodles, which isn't hateful at all. It's pretty good. I think I was expecting something a little bit more Italian style, and that's not what I got. Well, I was super hyper when I got this ration. I was so looking forward to this. A little bit of a letdown so far. I mean, I don't think sweet and sour chicken and a protein bar is going to knock my socks off, but you know what? You never know. Crazier things have happened, and smaller things than that have got me, well, more excited, so we'll see. Well, we've got no biscuits or bread to go after that sauce, so I'm kind of done with that. I'm absolutely going to finish up that guava flavored isotonic beverage between now and dinner, and well, although this is a reasonable amount of food for me for a day, I have a feeling that an active soldier would be hungry as hell at this point in the day. They would be looking to chew somebody's leg off to get some more nutrition. But maybe this ration is not designed for combat. Maybe it's just designed for, well, just chilling around the base or something. I don't know. Not from South Africa. Just throwing a scientific wild-ass guess out there. I will see you guys in 3 or 4 hours to wrap this shit up. All right, well, welcome back to dinner, everybody. I've already got the sweet and sour chicken main heated up in the flameless ration heater. We have our chocolate energy bar and our isotonic beverage left, as well as some Super C candies. And I realized as I was sitting thinking about this ration between lunch and dinner, I've been pretty hard on this ration so far. So the total calorie count on this ration is 2,495 calories. So I have to think that this isn't intended for combat. It's probably not intended for a soldier who is doing a great deal of physical activity. This just seems like a daily ration. I am certainly butthurt that there was no coffee or tea. I don't know how they exactly get away with not putting any like coffee, tea, some kind of breakfast drink in there for the guy. But I guess that's just me with my first world problems. And I've eaten a lot of really comprehensive 24-hour rations recently that were like everything in the kitchen sink thrown in there. Did I say no coffee? Because there was no coffee. So that was the reason why I was a little harder on this ration during the first couple of reviews of the day, probably because I just got started off on a bad no coffee foot. This being a relatively low calorie count ration, it's very likely not a combat ration. If they were in combat, I'm sure they would supplement this with more calories, additional items, etc. But let's get this isotonic drink made up. That last isotonic drink I had was really good, so I'm kind of hoping this is the same flavor, because quite honestly, that was a really excellent isotonic drink. Looks like it's going to be the same flavor. Kind of hoping it is. That does not look like the same flavor we had earlier in the day. Let's give this a try, see what flavor we're rocking here in this isotonic beverage. That is actually really good. It is definitely a mix of like orange and mango. That's actually really good. The isotonic beverages in this ration have definitely been on point. Those are really enjoyable. Could probably add even a little bit more water to that. and thin it out. That's an excellent isotonic beverage. Really tasty, really satisfying. Let's check out this sweet and sour chicken. The thing that I found funny about this ration is they gave you 3 flameless ration heaters in this 24-hour ration and only 2 mains that you could actually heat up in a flameless ration heater. These bags are certainly not thick enough to withstand being filled with water and placed inside of an FRH. These just wouldn't hold up to that. They're way too thin. So these are definitely not for heating up water. So I'm not sure why they included 3 flameless ration heaters, but you did get 3. Maybe you could just keep your hands warm with one or something. I don't know. South Africa doesn't seem like the type of place that you would have a hard time keeping your hands warm, but what do I know? I'm a stupid American. So let's get this sweet and sour chicken out and see what that looks like. And that doesn't smell all that appetizing. Oh boy. This is a 400 gram main. Hopefully the smell is not the flavor profile of this thing, because it was not smelling all that great. Alright, so what do we have here? We definitely have some weird looking pieces of chicken. Although putting chicken in a retort pouch definitely will make anything look kind of strange. We have some rice. We have some peppers. I'm looking for some pineapple. Can I get some pineapple action in this sweet and sour chicken? Those actually look like potatoes. They don't even look like pieces of pineapple. Where's the sweet and sour action? Okay, so we have chicken, rice, peppers, what look like potatoes. I could be wrong. I'll get a bite of those in just a second. I'm not seeing much else in here. Nothing in the way of seasoning. There is a good bit of chicken in here, so that's always good. It is a 400 gram main. Should be pretty filling. I guess we're just going to have to go in for a bite and get a flavor profile. Really curious if that's a potato. That certainly looks like a potato to me. Yep, and that's absolutely a potato. It is pretty sweet tasting, which is kind of crazy. Let's just get a bite of everybody and just check this whole thing out. Looks like these are green beans as well as some pepper flakes in here. So yeah, potatoes and green beans and chicken and rice in this sweet and sour chicken. That's kind of crazy. And that's got a pretty, I don't know, that's a very weird flavor. It's got a sweet flavor, a little bit of that sweet and sour flavor going on, but there's some seasoning in here I can't quite put my finger on. The chicken's definitely a bit dry. I think the potatoes also kind of take away from the flavor of it. The chicken is a bit tough and chewy. Let's go in for another bite. This sweet and sour chicken has green beans in it. I'm certainly not used to sweet and sour chicken here in the United States having green beans in it. Maybe in South Africa, that's normal. Maybe it's just kind of a filler. I'm not really sure. Let's just keep on eating this and see what kind of flavors we can pick out of this. It's kind of a strange dish. Yeah, it's funny how well you can taste those green beans. The green bean is really a predominant flavor in this. So you really have a strong taste of green beans, a sweet and sour sauce, and this kind of tough, chewy chicken. It's not something that I would necessarily look forward to, especially if I was a hungry soldier. The fact that it's dark meat chicken and it's so tough is actually a little strange. Usually dark meat chicken is much more tender, especially when cooked in a retort pouch. This chicken's definitely got some chew to it, and you got to put in some work. And this is like no sweet and sour chicken I've ever had here in the United States. That's one of the fun things about doing these reviews. Now, granted, these aren't completely accurate representation of the sweet and sour chicken that may be on everyone's dinner plate in South Africa, but it is certainly an analog. It is fun to see the differences in food dishes that you have in your country and what they're like in another country. This is definitely fun and interesting. Certainly not my most favorite main that I've ever had, but it's completely edible. It's decent. One thing I can say about this main is there is a lot of chicken in here, which is awesome. That's going to have a really high protein content, certainly help keep you full and be really nutritious. All that nice bird floating around in there, that's always a good thing. Since we have a little salt, I'm going to try to put a little salt on there. See if I can't liven up the flavor just a little bit. Let's check out that sweet and sour chicken with a little bit of salt. The salt really didn't change the flavor very much. Maybe it made it a little bit more pronounced. If anything, that salt made the green bean flavor a little bit more pronounced, which is kind of crazy that green beans are almost like the predominant flavor. Basically, you taste the green beans and the sweet and sour sauce right off the bat, and everything else kind of follows that up. It's not bad, especially if you like green beans, just a little odd. One thing I can say is there's so much chicken in this main that if you're actually just kind of paying attention to what you're doing, you can literally get a piece of chicken in every bite. I think I forgot to give you guys a nice close-up of that. Here's like one of the last bites. Dramatic close-up. But it certainly wasn't that bad. I ate it all. Let's check out this chocolate energy bar. That is really thick. Look at that thing. Got that nice shiny, glistening surface on it. See what that looks like. Oh, it's like a piece of rubber. Oh, that's very, very interesting. It's almost like it's like a giant Tootsie Roll. It's really kind of what it seems like. Let's rip a piece of this thing off here. Let's get a bite of that. And that certainly has a nice, sweet, chocolatey flavor. The texture is very much like a Tootsie Roll. Kind of gets stuck in your teeth. You certainly have to work at it to chew it quite a bit. This is actually pretty decent. I would say if you like Tootsie Rolls, you'd be okay with it. And if you don't like Tootsie Rolls, you might even be okay with it. It's enough like a Tootsie Roll in the texture that if you hate Tootsie Rolls because of the texture, you won't like it. But it certainly has a different flavor. It's just a nice, sweet, mild chocolate flavor. Really chewy. Definitely something to keep you busy. Not really bad. Certainly not the best energy bar or protein bar I've ever seen in a ration. It's certainly doable though. It's nice and sweet, nice and chocolatey. It's something to do with your face hole. That's pretty much how I feel about it. These isotonic beverages though, these things were awesome. Well, that does it. Well, everybody, thank you for joining me here on Ration Nerd to check out this South African regular army 24-hour ration. This was definitely a lot of fun, very interesting to get into. I was a little hard on this ration when I got into it because, well, I'm spoiled. A lot of the 24-hour rations I get into are really comprehensive. This one just isn't. It's a 2,500 calorie ration, probably not meant for combat activity. There's certainly enough food in here if you're not going to be rucking through the battlefield all day. This will keep you fed. It's lacking coffee, which is completely should be a war crime. There's no tea. There are definitely limited items inside of this ration. Horrible napkin, kind of crappy silverware. Otherwise, the food items were pretty decent. If this is somehow considered a combat ration, I would say they have some work to do on this thing, but I imagine this meets South Africa's needs for what it was designed for. I really still feel bad for South African soldiers that they're not getting any coffee or tea. That really blows. But if you guys appreciate what I'm doing here on this channel, do me a big favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, talk to me in the chat. You know how that shit goes. And until next time, if you can find something as cool as this to put in your face hole, you absolutely know what to do by now, I would think, unless you're new here. And if you are new here, let me tell you what you do. Eat 'em up.